Okay, so pushing into turn 3 here, initiative remains the Germans. They didn't get a lot of caps in comparison to the Allies. We have the East Front problem here, which is I have to send, what, 9 strength points of infantry plus a cav division from units within 1 hex of the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd German armies. Well, the 1st army's way up here, 2nd's over here, 3rd's all the way over here. Can I afford to strip this entirely? Because that's what it comes down to, really. This is where most of the points would come from. I can probably get rid of some of these troops back here. They're not easily used. That's going to definitely hinder my ability to push, though, in the north if I take from here. Here, well, I could get rid of a few units there and hope the French can't punch their way through. I don't know. This is one of them tough decisions. It's 2 victory points. As it stands, the Allies have 11. I have to have twice that. I have to have 22. What am I looking at here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I get everything that I'm kind of close to, it's going to be tough as it stands. We got 3 victory point hexes here, a couple here. I'm saying that that's probably worth right around that 12 points, but if I take a penalty of 2 more points, that means having to extend and make a victory somewhere else. Unless, of course, I get a lucky draw or whatever. But even if I take Paris, it's not going to be sufficient. I just look at this and say, damn, I just don't have a lot of force I don't have enough to do that punch through the north anymore. I definitely have to withdraw troops. Question is where from. I'm going to clear this hex out. And these just, do they come out of the game? Are they destroyed? Remove from the map. I don't know if I can buy them back. I don't think so. So I'm going to throw them in the dead pile, in the unavailable pile, as opposed to the dead pile. Nobody's building troops up. And I'll, of course, take a cav out of here. Just because I don't have anywhere I want to take a cav from. It weakens my position here, but maybe I can shift some forces. Maybe a victory here will allow me to push on further. We'll see. But that's a hard hit. We succeeded in the transfer. I don't know what to do with this counter. You know, I just, it's a reminder or whatever, but I don't know what else to do with it. And now the Germans have the initiative and not a lot of points. And not as many troops as I would like. Probably going to open things up here, start trying to wreck Maubeuge. With 2 guns hitting it, I may be able to get it down pretty quickly and then make this a questionable location to be. Well, the defensive bonus of +2 was enough to prevent any damage, but the concentrated fire does an automatic point of damage. So, now we have the lineup, and I've got all these cav in line, which I'm going to just withdraw. Thereby putting the Germans to 1 attack, really. That allows me to keep an infantry out of the line so that I can stick around a little bit longer. I want to make this sort of as hard an attack as I can. And as we see, the defender has a bonus for the fort to his die rolls. Maybe I should have fought a little harder to protect that bonus while I have that bonus, but, you know, we do our simultaneous fire here, I guess. The Germans don't hit. Brits get a hit on the Germans, and then the German reserve kicks in, and it doesn't hit. not a good result for the expenditure of an action. And now I've got to take a second action, or else I'm gonna give up the turn, basically. They're able to tighten up their line a little bit with a quick move here. Now, it actually tightens the French line too. Otherwise, Abbeville was in danger of falling, maybe from an attack in this direction or something. But, you know, I wanted to just push forward. I'm not sure that I did the wisest thing. The cutoff might have been better. They got the tactical... basically, I had a concentric attack, which is one of the reasons I went in there. They had the tactical advantage, and they spent that, the cap for that, in order to allow them to withdraw and just give that to the Germans easily. So now the line is again kind of stabilized. Well, the French opened up paying one off. This gets rid of their mandated battle, and they get a victory point up to 12. They got the attack to the limit, though. So they had to put all their disrupted crap in the front line, and I put this crappy cav up there, too. I may want to prevent this from withdrawing. Put a cav against it. See, I don't want to lose my infantry, though. That's why I'm positioned this way. I'm okay with him withdrawing his cav. And he may actually be okay taking the infantry attack rather than the cav attack. Now, if infantry hit cav, that's not the same situation as if cav hit infantry, I think. Only defending infantry. Yeah. So the defending infantry get a bonus against cav, but the other way around doesn't happen. So I'll take those first fires, against this cav. Now, this guy, he's got a parenthesized combat. He can't even hit. But he's in the line because of this stupid rule. As far as I can tell, he has to go in the line. He just doesn't get a die roll, I think. So let's see. We'll open up with the Germans there. I don't know why I'm showing this. Let's see. We got a... I haven't marked everything. We got a damn terrain effect here. We've got this. Do we have a to the max marker somewhere? I don't know. There's all kinds of little reminders there, but did I roll? Damned if I know. I don't think I did. But if I did, it didn't do anything. I don't know. Let me re-roll. If I did roll, I can't remember. Alright, so we get a hit on him, and that's actually taken effect, and a shot at this guy. We get a hit on him, that's destroyed. Alright, now, that's these guys. They fired. Now I guess I'll do the other Germans. Got a hit here. And a miss with the cav. And now the French come back. Oh, these Germans are allowed to fire again. I'm sorry, double fire on. So we finished both the cav off. So now the French get to fire back. And we're looking at needing a 2 to hit there. No. And same here. Nope. So the French did not do well. The fact that they got to put their damaged stuff in the line, though, means even though this looks terrible, they didn't actually retreat. They just didn't do anything. But they did collect a victory point for that. And now I've got to decide, do I want to take another action? Well, the answer is probably not, unless there's something vital I want to do here. I needed to get that attack out of the way in case I wanted to do other attacks that I get my victory point for it. Other attacks don't look terribly. I'm wondering, I think I may have cheated with this guy and moved him up through Paris, ignoring this red star or diamond, but that's not that big a deal. I don't think the Germans were going to be hitting here. I noticed that this unit could actually make it there, and that's why it became an issue. I'm not seeing anywhere that I feel like I really want to hit. Nothing looks terribly vulnerable. Tournai doesn't do me a damn bit of good anymore. Even if I get to Brussels, it doesn't do me anything. I have to get to Ghent. That's the important spot where the line is cut. Now, can I get that far? Yes. Yes, I can. Oh boy, time to think, because the Germans left this all the way open. Ruh-roh. I definitely want to do this. I'm going to spend a point, but I'm not spending them on the Brits here. For one thing, I don't have many units, so one would go here, one would go here. The French would have to go here if I don't want a penalty. I'm going to spend it back here. And that opens up some danger to an attack in this direction. But cutting off this whole rail net here is really appealing to me. So what I'm going to do, I'm not sure I'm taking everyone. I'm going to activate my headquarters there. Move to Tournai. 1, 2, 3. Oops. Whatever's here, these are canceled out because that's no longer going to be German controlled. And from here, these guys kind of move with them. I think I want them both going. 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to Ghent. I've just sliced the German line open. Why, I shouldn't be trusted with an attack, right? Yeah, but what have I done to the French as well? Well, we shall see. We're beginning to enter the realm of what I call where war games kind of break down, where fantasy exploit attempts just do ridiculous things. Are these believable or not? It's hard to tell. This is a syndrome which comes into play a great deal in, let's see if I can find it, good old Hitler's War over there, which is these tremendous breakthroughs threatening everything. So I've just threatened this entire pocket here. And now there's like this danger that a slice across here, well, these guys will still be in supply from this hex. So the slice has to be on Tournai to cut this off. And a couple French units would be bagged then. That's not so terrible. But now I start thinking, okay, what if I activate this pile here, which has a movement allowance of 4 with the headquarters, 1, 2, 3, I can slice into there. I'll get a concentric attack, actually. Do I need everything to make that attack? Probably not. How much can I leave behind is the question, though. How much can I afford to slash up to Tournai? Because there's a French army here, which could threaten this. And remember, Trier is the automatic victory. It's not that it's close. 2-4, this is as far as I can get. And that's not necessarily, that's not a legitimate place to be anyway, because I don't have supply hitting there. So this is as far as I can go without taking this hex. So I've got to kind of advance through the German forces. I can't just charge through the forest here. I could do it here, but that doesn't really help me. So I'm beginning to look at definitely 2 units, the headquarters. Is the cav going or no? Because this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't take the rail line and the forces that are there. Coming in at even fighting, concentric bonus. think I gotta take the Cav with me too. Oh wait, I have 3 units here. The hell with that. I think a Cav and an infantry can hold this. Okay, let's spend. We move. This stack is formed up. 1, 2, 3 into here. I get a little marker. And now I'm going to get a concentric attack on that space. But yes, this is ending up wilder than the original war was. And nothing else there. Let's roll to see what our fortunes of war is. This is the interesting part. I get the tactical defense. I think it's worth a point to make this a skirmish to reduce the chances that the Germans have of dropping me out of that space. I need an allied marker to indicate I own this. Okay. So concentric attack. Let's spend a point on the skirmish. And we'll set this up and roll the dice. French won the battle. They did a point of damage to the Germans. The concentric attack doesn't matter because it's a skirmish. I think I have to hit it again. And I think I have to hit it again with these same troops, even though I'm a little weaker now. I can't throw reinforcements in because anything that I'd throw, even if I could find them somewhere, say here or something, anything that I threw in would be fighting all by itself there. This is the best I got, though. So I'll spend my second point for the turn to get this. I get another skirmish. This one's an automatic skirmish. Crap. Let's get the initiative automatically next, but they don't want to take it. They're going to pass, hand it back to the Germans, and the Germans really have to break this. This is the only way they have through. Now, actually, you could pull back with the Allies, but if Ghent goes back into German command, let me think about what an Allied move might be. Because remember, if I go down to 0, that means the Germans get 2 actions. They could break this and come out. But if the Germans take this hex, this one becomes open. This one becomes open to be cut off, and ugly stuff could happen. But Ghent is vital to the Germans for their supply as well. Shit. This was really dumb going in here. This was not the hex I needed. I needed Ghent. Crapola. Yeah. I need Ghent because Ghent is my supply line. Cutting it off didn't do me a damn bit of good. It would still be in Allied hands. It would cause problems for the Allied troops, but all my troops are in trouble then. Oh, shit. All right, so I think the Allies can hold off and indeed pass. And I think for the Germans, I have to do something about this. And that something comes from back here. Frightened of what this could do, though. One, 2 with these units. Let's spend an action. See what we can get out of this. Can I afford another unit? I'm not getting a concentric attack here or anything to really benefit me. There's no terrain in my advantage. If I could send another unit, it would help me. You know what? I could pull my artillery out of there. What I'm worried about is that the artillery is going to get swamped. Artillery, I think, is allowed to retreat, though. No, yes, they do retreat normally after battle. Okay. That gives me some safety. I'm not going to be able to wipe everything out there, I don't think. Do I want these? I want my headquarters with this, actually. The reason is I can pull the stack back in against the Maubeuge for next turn. And we're going to launch this attack. Let's see what the die roll is, because the Fortunes of War is a lot of what determines what's going to happen here. It's a 5 German General Staff. I get a cap. That will help a lot. Well, I'll fight out the battle. The Germans were successful, mainly because of extra units. Everybody had good units there. So the French are going to have to retreat. Now here we worry about the retreat priorities. A friendly controlled hex free of enemy units. Yeah, that's not going to happen there. A friendly controlled hex containing enemy units. That would be, get rid of this. This is falling back here. So we fall back to Tournai. And this doesn't feel terribly good for the Allies. The Germans have another action, and if they don't take it, it could all be over here. So I gotta think carefully what the alternatives are. It is possible that strategic movement might actually be valuable to me in a way that it normally isn't. I've got this unit back here, and I could pull another unit, say, into some location up towards the front, because we're getting close to Paris here and actually beginning to capture a lot of stuff, all without taking the Maubeuge. Show you how crazy we're thinking here. If I move from here and launch an attack here, if it's successful, I cut supply to this hex. That's pretty impressive. If it's an unsuccessful attack, though, if I don't dislodge the Allies, these guys still have supply through here, and they won't be able to extend it into this hex. They won't be able to advance into Ghent legally. So I think I'm safe doing this. Yes, they will, because they've got supply tracing all the way up. This reminds me a little bit of the Great War, the old Rand game. The way supply worked in that was similar to this. It was an area-based game. And in a sense, this kind of feels like that. Which means that if I do want to launch an attack from here, I have to leave a unit at the very least. Maybe more than one, though, because a fair-sized force could leave here and march in, I believe. I'm not positive of that. Let's take a look. We got this little chart. A friendly controlled contested hex into an enemy controlled uncontested, that is allowed. No. Enemy controlled and occupied. Anything's allowed except from an enemy controlled contested hex. I can't pass through the enemy lines. Which means since I control this, I would be able to advance into here and hit whatever was there. I don't think I can launch an attack from here into here. What about an attack from here? No, because I won't be in supply. But I do have 2 caps remaining, which means I could kind of undermine the Allied position. I've got an army here that's not really doing anything. If I shift that to one of these 2 hexes, it could make that threat more credible. I gotta think a little bit. Unfortunately, I have another defect in my line right here. Now, the Brits can't just march into there. Can they? No, they can. From a controlled to an enemy uncontested hex. Obviously, I could pull a unit back there. But that takes away from any potential of an offensive move. What happens if the French move here? If I can get Tournai in that condition, if I can get Tournai back, I will get this rail net back in control. Who else might go? Well, these Brits are still available. They could march. Oh, they got to stop when they enter the enemy shared hex, though. So they're not going to do it. So really the question becomes, how much of this could be committed to attacking Ypres? If I split the force, there's a very good chance that I can get a hit and reclaim Tournai. So I think I'm safe doing this. pushing this unit back here. That gives me an ability to strike into Tournai if need be with a large force, or to strike down here in the Cambrai area with a fairly strong force by coming down 1, 2, 3 in that direction. I will not get a concentric attack though, because these are Allied controlled spaces. That hands the initiative back to the Allies. Yeah, both players have one action remaining unless something comes up on the random events table. I'm going to take me a little pause here. This has been kind of intense, actually. I walked away for a little while, and you see one of the difficulties to this game in terms of maintaining full state. The fact that I don't know how many actions I did with the Germans. I'm pretty sure I did 2. So the English or the Allies can't just pass and end the turn here. But that's an additional piece of information that for all the little tokens, etc., that come with it, isn't really available. You have to kind of write that down or mark it some way that's external to the game. And that is actually an important piece. Now, usually I figure out a way to handle stuff like that in a game, and it's not a big deal. The Allies are faced with a tough choice here, though. They've got one action left, presumably. I'm in an okay position right now. Nothing's bad. But my next position, but if the Germans get a move, they could slice down. They've got a full headquarters here, which can give 4 movement points. So this stuff could just slice down there and hit the Cambrai area. If that happens, that cuts supply to both of these hexes if they succeed in taking this. If they don't take it, it causes problems for the Germans, actually, because then Ghent is open again, right? Or it may be weaker. But that's a difficulty the Allies have to face, is how much are they willing to risk it on the defense of this? They don't have the Allenby advantage anymore. They do have a cav. If we're facing all 4 of these attacking, we can't defend our infantry. We don't have enough corps here to hold on to the hex in the light of that. Now, what's the bad thing that happens? Well, a lot of depletions on important armies. Everything's at risk in this particular position here. This is not at all how the opening days of World War I went, but it is an intriguing possibility. And I kind of like that it leaves this open, this chance for an exposed position. I don't feel like it's as dramatic and unbelievable as, say, Hitler's War, which I noted earlier. I don't know what to do. I mean, look, I could pull back, give up Tournai. Tournai is not that important, and safely put myself in here and maybe spread my forces out. And that seems wise. But what if I leave this trap? What if the Germans take it and I win the fight? I don't think the chance of that is very high. And what I can't do is I could actually move part of my force out of Tournai and let the Germans have to expend an activation to chase me fully out of there. Because Tournai does serve some limited purpose. Not much. And it doesn't have good defensive terrain. That's a point here. This thing, to any decision, this thing has defensive terrain, which means if they do attack, I get a bonus there. And if I've got an activation left afterwards, I could slam up. On the other hand, if I don't have that activation, then I've got to save 2 hexes, and I don't have enough activations to... Well, even with 1 activation, I don't have enough activations to save 2 hexes except by taking this hex back. So, I don't think I can risk it. I think I'm going to have to pull back with the Allied forces. Now, of course, I think I'm allowed to declare a withdrawal. Maybe not yet. No. Pretty sure I can't. No, I am allowed to declare a general withdrawal. This is the first turn that I could do it. I don't want to. I don't want to do it until forced, if either by the Paris or by other circumstances. I already have some French here. Hard to decide which way to go, but I'll pull these back. And now that leaves it on the Germans to make their decision. What did they do? They still have this attack possible on Cambrai. And then they could seal the Allied fate if they capture the Allied fate here. This becomes a low-risk attack, but low possibility of gain as well. I don't think I can take it, so I don't know what to do with my extra point. I'm almost certainly moving this stack, though. I think it might be an attack on Tournai, or a push here. I could 1, 2, 3. This doesn't do me any good because the rail lines are all coming out here through Saint Quentin. Well, I'm going to have to think about this. A safe decision would be to throw this either through strategic movement or just regular movement. Throw this German division into play, maybe here or up further. But instead, I'm launching the attack on Tournai. And I get to bring this in. That flips this over. Actually, I can move him here. Get an extra headquarters, or get a headquarters into there. These guys are attacking at Tournai. My feeling is I can actually do some damage against the French line there. So I'll pull those counters out and put a battle hex down there. These guys can't join in. They were already present. And now the important thing, perhaps, the fortune of war. But I just want to clean up this mess. I haven't been able to advance because of it. It cost me the turn, all the crap that happened there. It's going to be offensive to the limit, no effect there. So now the French get to play. Germans see no reason not to put units in the front. These are going to be in supply. Most of them will be recovered. There's no defensive bonus at Tournai. The only thing that I have here, let's put a little I advance from this direction, is I have a concentric attack here. 1, 2, 3, only 4 hexes. So that gets me a 1-level concentric attack. So that'll be an advantage for me there. Everything's all clean and neat at the end with nice supply routes running through the Antwerp-Ghent line here. No problem for the Germans, no problem for the Allies. All that chaos, yeah. All the troops have recovered, except there's a few in here. I think the Germans have some cav that hasn't recovered yet. But otherwise, everything's pretty much up to snuff. And that's one of the disadvantages to pulling out of here, is we could have prevented maybe, you know, some German offensive capability if we stayed up there. But it just looked like there was too much of a chance of this breaking if I didn't get out. So that's the end of the turn. We've pushed forward to turn 4, and I'm going to load this one up even though it's gotten a little bit shorter. I'm hoping maybe not to do a video per turn because there's a lot of turns here, but I've gotten long-winded recently, for good or ill.